Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now the middle of February of 2022, and we're only getting closer to the official release of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series on Disney+. That's really going to give fans a beautiful story that takes place in between A New Hope and, of course, Revenge of the Sith, starring once again Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and really make sure to interact with you guys further. So it's even all the more exciting right now is that yes, the Ahsoka Tano sets are being built as we speak before they begin filming by this April. A lot is being done for that series in particular with Rosario Dawson, Hayden Christensen again, and other Star Wars actors that are joining the cast. You know, we have a lot of people joining the Ahsoka Tano series. In fact, it is described to have the largest cast out of all of the Star Wars TV shows in the roster so far, so keep that in mind. Now, everything ranging from what's been going on behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm between people like Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie Headland working on the Acolyte TV series and the Stranger Things in Space project, which is, by the way, dubbed simply as Project Vortex. It's going to feature teen Padawans across the entire galaxy during the High Republic era. Now, with that being said, however, what's even all the more intriguing about what's happening with Kathleen Kennedy, alright? We already know that Kathleen Kennedy's been having a lot of problems, a lot of trouble with the Acolyte show, a lot of setbacks, constantly, time and time again, with creative differences and specific directors and co-writers not actually having a whole agreement with Kathleen Kennedy. We already know that this series specifically by far has had the longest streak of having problems in the Star Wars history of TV shows and movies. So, on top of all of this, alright, what's even all the more intriguing is that everything ranging from, of course, with both Disney and Lucasfilm now working on TV shows such as Star Wars Ahsoka and The Mandalorian Season 3, both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are also beginning to work on other Star Wars shows that will be unveiled at Celebration. However, it's described that recently behind the scenes, Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy has been making major changes to her show, The Acolyte, that is causing even more setbacks for the series. Now, it's described that recently Kathleen Kennedy fired one of the directors from the Acolyte show that was set to direct, of course, the Acolyte Chapter 3. That would be the first episode to feature the return of Yoda again in the series. Now, it's described that both Kathleen Kennedy and this director had many creative differences on how Yoda was to be handled, and that the director questioned Kathleen Kennedy's version of Yoda for the Acolyte series. Essentially, Kathleen Kennedy created a scene for Chapter 3 with Leslie Headland that would involve Yoda doing something completely against the Jedi way and the Jedi Order, which would break the character completely. Now, something that Kathleen Kennedy is sticking to and forcing to actually keep in the series has everything to do with this Yoda scene. The director of the show is actually described to be Alberto Bonilla, was the director for Chapter 3 and was completely against the usage of Yoda and even tried to get Kathleen Kennedy to change the overall story around for the show. So, once again, this is a very similar situation to how the entire scenario happened with David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, of how they didn't really agree with Kathleen Kennedy's version of the new Star Wars trilogy back then, and what they wanted to do was that they wanted to actually explore the origin of the Jedi and the origin of the Jedi Order. Kathleen Kennedy did not like that. She did not like their pitch for the new trilogy. She didn't like what they were going for, and so she let them go. The same exact thing goes with this director for the Acolyte series Chapter 3 that was going to handle a big deal on the character of Yoda in his first appearance of the show. Now, in case you guys didn't know, the Acolyte series takes place roughly 200 years before Episode 1, but the Acolyte show is going to take place at the tail end of the Acolyte and at the tail end of the High Republic era, I should say. So it's roughly, 50 to 60 years before Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. That's pretty much a ballpark of where, the actual series is based before Episode 1. So you're getting this slightly different version of Yoda. But it doesn't make all that much sense to change him so significantly because it's only 50 to 60 years before Episode 1. Now, when you look at everything related to what Kathleen Kennedy has been pushing for the Acolyte series. It's not really going to be heavily focused on character development or a great story. It's all just about pushing her own narrative, identity politics, and real-world issues to be promoted. Moving on. So, however, Kathleen Kennedy did not want to shift away any of the story elements around for the third chapter of the series, as it would actually break her own vision of how Yoda should be used in the High Republic era. Now, the third chapter is set to feature a full-blown scene in which Yoda breaks the way of the Jedi and goes against the Jedi Order. The scene is also set to retcon aspects of the Jedi Code that would be rewritten in certain ways for the Acolyte series. Kathleen Kennedy is said to now be on the hunt to find a brand new director to handle the Acolyte Chapter 3, to direct how Yoda was written in for the new show. As of now, Frank Oz has been in the talks to return as the voice of Yoda in the Acolyte series by Kathleen Kennedy. However, another part of the Kathleen Kennedy project that she actually didn't agree with, this particular director, was the fact that he wanted Yoda to have a series of lines of dialogue in the scene at the very minimum. Something that Kathleen Kennedy did not want to do in the show. Kennedy is trying to evolve the character of Yoda by stripping down all of his core character features and providing fans with a brand new take on Yoda with new character features that they have never seen before in Star Wars. It's best described that this version of Yoda is going to be totally different than what fans have ever seen in the prequels, originals, and yes, even in the sequels. Yoda will be something of his own in the series, with Kathleen Kennedy in a spot now. After firing that director, it's causing more production delays, more setbacks for the Acolyte series, which, believe it or not, was supposed to be shooting by this March, and now that's being pushed again. So, the thing about Kathleen Kennedy changing the core character features of Yoda, that's one thing that I don't agree with at all, and that's something that is really going to create a lot of fan backlash. If you guys ask me, it's going to create a lot of problems. We already saw what fans did not like with Yoda in The Last Jedi. Imagine that maximized. Alright, so that's basically what Kathleen Kennedy is going for. And I don't think it's really going to stick with fans. I really don't believe that. Now, sure, if you look at Yoda in the High Republic art, some fans like it, some fans don't like it. I mean, it's just art at the end of the day. But in live action form, and by the way, they are pushing for a CG version of Yoda again, very similar to what they did in the prequel trilogy movies. They are pushing for CG Yoda to return once more. So that's one highlight of the Acolyte series that I think people might give it a chance for, just to check out how Yoda's going to be. But from the sounds of it, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound all that promising. It doesn't sound all that, satisfying to the fans at all in any way, shape, or form. And the fact that there's so many creative differences between Kathleen Kennedy and these different directors that have, pretty much, came and went over the last couple of months. They've all had creative differences with her about specific key characters and the story and the overall structure of the show. I mean, there's a lot of problems happening behind the scenes with this series. I just am starting to question on whether or not it's even going to see the light of day, or if it's even going to release by 2023. It's very unlikely that it would make the spring of 2023 release. It's likely to come out either now at this point, around summer, maybe even the fall of next year if they're lucky. So overall, guys, let me know what you think about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.